Is Rosalie Toro the queen of hurricane scams? You decide in the comments.
The money's gone. It's gone. I don't know what she did with it.
You're recording right now. You're more than welcome to keep this on a recording too. But I mean, I don't mind telling anybody my story that I have to deal with this. That petting zoo over in Edneyville, I can tell you one thing. I have buried probably close to like 50 animals on that property, from either malnourishment or just not being taken care of. And it got to the point where we had people call in to the petting zoo saying, calling in for a welfare check and everything. But for some reason, I don't know how she does it, but she's able to wiggle herself out of every situation. And she's been able to do that for years. She's so good at what she does, no matter what is said, she'll get away with it regardless. And I don't know how she does it.
In November of 2024, YouTuber John Ward found tens of thousands of dollars of new supplies being destroyed due to exposure to the elements. The following is photographic proof of the horrific conditions that Rosalie Toro kept her property in. Ward had never seen such horrific conditions and knew he needed to document the unbelievable circumstances.
They tried to give them shelter, makeshift shelter, but you can see that these animals are living in a mess. There's some of the posts some volunteers put in. A couple of the guys and I, Reggie, Art, we did all the posts of that 85 feet, and we did the 48 feet of 2x4 you see right there. The other guys, they put all the pickets on and they finished the 2x4s. The post and beam structure, we fenced all that in. This is going to be enclosed for the donkeys eventually. And this box over here, I found out, even though Rosalie said don't give any propane out with the heaters, just the other day when I was here, I was shocked. They said we don't have any propane. Look at it all in here. There's propane right there. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bottles plus the 2-pound bottles. That trailer over there is loaded with all kinds of propane, amongst stoves and all other kinds of things. But right here, this is where the donkey pen is going to be. And this is, we were going to build a wall in front of this with a 6-foot gate. And then we were going to take this out and put fencing just like we did in here all around it. That was the generator I used because mine ended up going south on me, ended up going bad. So it's going to be nice. This is where the Santa Claus thing is going to be, and the presents. It's all going to be decked out for Christmas. At least that's the story. Don't even know if that's going to happen anymore on the 21st. And coming out of this gate, which I asked them to put in, did a great job. Man, did they build that thing nice. Yeah, I think I like the way they've put the 45s. I like the way they did that. That is nice. Yeah. They had to put this blocking on just like this because the cement wasn't set enough for the gate to swing. It would have pulled the post out. That's where Rosalie stays over there. You can't go past that gated point because then she gets ballistic. And this is all the supplies. All of this was loaded all the way out here. That pile there is what got destroyed, along with a bunch of other stuff we had to burn. But this is all of the stuff that we put away that one Monday. We were working, we were such a well-oiled machine. It was great. There was another one of these makeshift that wasn't this nice, but there was one there, and all it was over the top of it were tarps, something similar to that. But on this one here, there was just tarps, what was there, and a lot of that stuff in there got destroyed. And here, people are supposed to be in these places here that pop up, and that they were supposed to be in here yesterday, but I see they're not there. And that's Artie's rig down here, his trailer, his fifth wheel, his truck. That yellow and white tent down there, that's for clothes. The green one is the mess tent. This one here, the white one, is for Christmas stuff. This one's the pet food trailer. This semi over here, this is all, well, that's what they started with, I guess. Somebody donated the trailer. Those boxes are all sleeping bags right there. And then all up in there you'll see heaters and propane, stoves. A guy just delivered a bunch of DeWalt tools. Yeah, you could see all the propane that's still in here. I didn't think they got rid of all that propane. Yeah, it's all still in there. I don't know what this boat's from, but there's a 40-pound tank and all these 20-pound tanks, and yet she says she doesn't have any propane to give out. I don't get that. This green one is where all the camping type stuff is at. Tents, sleeping bags, anything to do with camping. Let's see, there's some kinds of foods in there too. But I'm gonna make my way down. Okay. I just wanted to get my camera out and show where I was at. And we're going back here. That's just the catch-all where shelves and things like that are. Yeah, could have been a nice place, and it still might be. And this is another pile of donated goods. A lot of the supplies that got ruined is underneath this tent. Or tarps, all that stuff, all those black bags are clothes. And you can see they've all got wet, and now nobody's gonna wash these. All this stuff, look at all those nice coats, blankets. These people are crying out for all this stuff, and I don't know if they don't know it's here, or they can't get here to get it, or they just can't get it to them. But all of it's been destroyed. This bus is over $40,000. I've never seen it, but it is decked to the hilt. It can sleep 6 in there. It's got a working kitchen, living room. I think I'll go in and video that thing. This was our burn pile. You could see all the stuff that was in there that burned. Yeah, let's see what this looks like in here. Oh, okay, there's the kitchen. Can't see really. And the bed back there. Yeah, I guess it could be really nice. It's too dark in here to see anything. Bottles of water freezing. Drinks freezing. Yeah, people have a right to be mad with stuff on the center pallet pile. And probably some of that and some of what you could see. All that stuff. It's amazing how much is here and not getting mattresses. Look at the mattresses. Come on, man. How come this stuff is donated? Why isn't it being gotten out? I don't have a clue. That's what it looks like on the long shot. This will be my last day here. Yeah, I'm not working. Okay. Signing out. Yeah, this is Rosalie's property. I guess her dogs stay in those dog runs and stuff.
Hello everyone, this is John Moore of the Appalachian Channel, and this is my son, Dustin. And we're here to bring an update of the shenanigans of Rosalie Toro. Many of you that follow the channel know that in December, I had went there and worked a couple weeks trying to help her put that place back together that you see in the opening clips there. That was photos I took the first day I got there, and that was not caused by Helene. It was caused by her never taking off garbage. The place was filthy, nasty, beyond disgust, and so I saw thousands and tens of thousands of dollars worth of supplies on the ground when I got there, and she told me that she had 6 women with children needing tents. And so this, you know, I had done a GoFundMe for her to raise some money to help the people, the victims there. I was going to give it into her name if she got a 501c3, was one of the deals. Once you get a 501c3, this will be transferred over so that I know that you're not just taking the money and buying cars with it like she did in Florida. We're going to talk about that too. Rosalie's a long-time scammer, and we have so much information. It's took a long time to put this video together because every time we'd hit the internet searching, we would find more things that's come up. And one of the things is she's on a watch list. She's got 3 different, we don't know what they are. She's got 3 different things that keeps her from, what is that, Dustin?
It's a Z1 classification that prohibits her from having any federal help.
Yeah, and there's 3 of them. We're going to show you that. And in the opening there, you heard her son, Eric, and he had, not Eric, it's Dustin, I'm sorry.
Austin.
Austin, okay, Austin. Dustin's my son, all right. Austin, that's right. Austin, he's about 29, 30 years old. He grew up there in Hendersonville with Rosalie at one of her many addresses when she had found a man with some money and married him and took everything he had and everything his family pretty much had until his brother stepped in and was able to take control of the mother-in-law's checking account to keep Rosalie from keep draining it.
To open a petting zoo.
To open a petting zoo, yes. And you heard Austin, right? Is it Austin? Austin in the opening talking about, we talked to him today on the phone, and he was very happy to tell about his mother, as you can hear there. And there's a lot more of that coming up in the video here of Austin talking about the things he went through dealing with his mother, the 50 animals he said he personally buried that starved to death or died from just not being taken care of, the neglect. Yeah. That he buried in that property there in Hendersonville. And so you'll hear him say that in the opening, and you'll hear him say it again in the audio. But there are so many, one of the things in this video, I'm not even gonna tell you this little video YouTube channel that has, their average view count, Dustin, was like 12 of a video until they started using my name because they knew they could jump in here and try to talk a bunch of crap about people that's helping people in North Carolina. And they know that negative news gets views when you can tell somebody scammed somebody. And they got Rosalie to come and whine and cry and say that I took money from her and it was so sad, and to get people to send her more money. And unfortunately, people did. But in December, I returned everybody's GoFundMe, and I'm going to show you all of those receipts. She's in this video, this little bitty channel of these people, they're admitted drug addicts and criminals. They, from what I understand, from what they said, I don't know. I didn't watch it because they have so much profanity in the first video I was watching. I turned it off, but it
was just belligerent. You couldn't understand anything they were saying.
Yeah, I started watching. It was like, what? They talking like they're high right now, but. And they were talking about me, and I had no clue what they was talking about because apparently they had no clue what they was talking about. But in that video, one of the things is Rosalie talks about, I just showed up at her place one day and came there just out of the blue for no reason to want to document her. And so that's one of the first things I want to clear up is I still have when Rosalie first texted me. Right here it is. She says, oh, I contacted her. Here she is contacting me, and you'll see it right here to my screen where Dustin's at. You can see it a little bit better. This was on, let me get my glasses on. You get to see me with my glasses on here tonight. November 19th, she says, come to the Hub Relief Distribution Center, which that's one of so many different names she'd call this thing. Here's her number, please call me. And then I messaged back and said, hello. November 20th, I said, where are you located at? I didn't know who she was, I'd never heard of her. She called once for 16 seconds and then called again for 3 minutes. She called right back and I answered it when she called back. Apparently we talked for 3 minutes. She wanted me to come down there and she said, I want you to come and film what I'm doing to help me raise money. She says, I got 6 women and children. I have no bridge. My bridge is washed out. When I got there, she had a perfect bridge. There was no bridge washed out at all. No bridge work needed, but that was one of the things she did a GoFundMe on. And here's a picture of that GoFundMe. And saying her bridge is washed out, and she had the best bridge I'd ever seen when I got there.
She was needing $8,000 on GoFundMe to build a bridge that
was already there when I got there.
Yep.
And talking about her elderly mother needed to cross there. Well, maybe while she was telling me just days before she needed a bridge, and I get there, there's a perfectly good tile and gravel and everything on it, and you see it in the video. But there were dog feces, there were garbage everywhere. That these dogs that she has, these huge dogs. What are them dogs you said? The
Cane Corso.
Cane Corso, huge dogs. Every morning they get out and chew every bag of garbage up. Everywhere. It was such a disgusting mess. And I seen all of these supplies, new supplies.
The photos that I pulled out show the bags on the ground where they've been busted up and just the mess. You tried to keep that out of it. You didn't want to show that bad part.
Well, no, I didn't show all of it. No, it was way worse than you saw in the pictures, but I was trying to get her help, and I didn't want to let people know that this place was a garbage dump, basically, that nothing had ever been thrown away in years and years. And but as I got out and filmed a little bit, she's so convincing. And I asked her, have you ever done relief work before? No, I've never done nothing like this before.
Lies.
She's done it for the last 20-something years, been doing it all over. And the thing about this list that she's on with the government, where she can't get government aid no more, or maybe, we have no idea what that is. Well, because it's really in depth of something that I've never heard of. And whatever she did it 3 different times in 3 different names, and she got permanently put on this list. And we're going to show you those and take you to that website. What is that?
It's sam.gov.
Sam.gov. That's where this information is of these people that's been banned because they defrauded the government. So 3 different times she was banned under 3 different names.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, from what I dug deeper into that, it had something to do with like insurance fraud, like state insurance and things like that.
We don't know. We know for sure. No. Maybe y'all can help us, and we'll show it to you here in just a little bit. So we're going to get ready to cut and show you some of these emails. One of the first things, now we cleared up, Rosalie pursued me consistently because she knew she needed publicity, just like she did on all the other times. She needed the press to come out so people would know to send her money. So you see here, she continually hounded me to come, texting. I tried to dodge her. I finally went down there because she kept pleading and crying on the phone. I did not know her, thought she was a Christian, but all she does is use Christianity as a tool to manipulate people's feelings to make them think that she's a good person.
You tried repeatedly to get her to get the 501c3.
Well,
right?
That was the deal. She wasn't supposed to get the money until she got the 501c3. She never did get it. And so that was the day she came, the day I left there, the property. I worked there about 10 days. I come back to Tennessee twice. I was gone some. And so much happened there that was so sick and disgusting. It was unbelievable. One of the very first things that happened to us, and we got a trailer in, a nice travel trailer, 2 beds, queen beds on each side. And so many people had seen my videos and wanted to come there and volunteer and help, and they did. And I met a lot of good people, really good people I'm still in contact with and talk to on a regular basis that work there with us. And there were some ladies there, and that night it got down to 17 degrees, and there were some ladies there, and they come to volunteer, and Rosalie would not let them sleep in that camper. It came in, they put buddy heater in it, nice and warm, but because she said that's going to be my office, and what that meant was that's going to be my place that I'm going to put all the supplies I'm hoarding and having sold for me. We'll talk about that later. She had her trailer that she lived in. She lived in a double-wide trailer on the other side of the creek of the property with stuff so full, from what we understand, that she couldn't walk in the door. So she needed this trailer that's supposed to went to a woman with children that she was begging me to come help her get trailers in there so she could get them someplace to stay, and no, she put supplies in it. And not only that, she had the volunteers taking the supplies over there, setting them by the door. You'd look and there'd be boxes and stacks. What it was, anything that come in that was good that she knew that she could sell, she was reselling it and taking that money. We were there, I saw it. It's not no secondhand hearsay. I was there during that time. Rosalie had a lot of articles wrote about her in Florida, where
the Sun newspaper group, or the Sun Coast Media Group archives, we found like, what was it, 7 different newspapers ranging from 13 to 7 to 10, like different articles about her across multiple years.
And those are hard to search unless you pay. We had to buy a subscription for that to even see these. And here's some of those articles right here. Here's some of them. He's going to read. Let's just go ahead on this article here before we start showing them the GoFundMe refund. Let's go ahead and do you want to do ahead the returns, show them where the money was all refunded on GoFundMe, or you want to read this article first?
Well, let's go ahead and set it up on our pretenses for where she's done this in the past.
Done it in the past, okay.
Let's get this out of the way. All right,
This
is one where, again, no 501c3.
Okay, so this is the whole thing about her not wanting a 501c3, because once you have a 501c3, you have to you will go to jail if you steal from it. But as long as people's writing checks out to Rosalie Toro, she can cash them all day long. Outside of her being having a tax evasion, she's not paid taxes on none of this. And believe me, the IRS needs to make a call, because she took in tens of thousands of dollars that was given to her in her name, that was cashed through her banks. And I'm sure those banks have records of all those checks. And she don't have a 501c3, and she's been taking and soliciting donations like that. And
it's not just hearsay. Granted, this was resolved. If I'm not mistaken, this was all
the problem
resolved.
was she was being investigated on several different things she did. Money went missing, they investigated. She didn't even have a 501c3. She wasn't even registered as a nonprofit. For 5 years, she went without filing any paperwork, so she knew as long as that check was made to Rosalie Toro or Johnson or whatever name she was going with at the time, she cashed those checks and just keep them. But once that 501c3 was submitted, then she can't just take those checks. That is an entity in itself, that nonprofit organization is a corporation.
It becomes a person.
It becomes like a person, an entity, and she can't just steal from that 501c3. So she knew, I don't want none of that, because I have to, any money comes in named to that charity goes into account, and then there's a treasurer and a secretary. One writes a check, one signs them, and she would have had no control of the money in a 501c3, and that was the problem with me trying to get her to get a 501c3. She knew that she couldn't have control of all the money to get the GoFundMe money. So go ahead, I'm going to let Dustin read this article, and this might be a little bit longer video than normal, but listen, you want to hear her son talk about the hell that he went through as a kid. He's not talked to her, I don't think, in 6 years.
She has taken vehicles from him?
Yes, she stole his truck and sold it to his sister. He put it in her name so he could get cheaper insurance back when he was younger. And the next thing you know, the truck's gone and it's sold.
He was couch surfing. He was having trouble with things. He was trying to make it by, and the cheapest way that he could get insurance was to put it in her.
A lot of people do that. Their parents do that. I mean, we did that with my kids, but she sold it. She took that title and sold his truck, and she sold her Madison's trailer that she was staying in, had them removed. There's so much of this story, and I wanted it to drop and die, but Rosalie had to think she could get a little bit more pity by crying and telling her sad story of how John Ward took her money, she says in that video. It was never her money. It was money that was given to people for the Helena victims. She says, John put it in his personal account and took it, and I did not. It was refunded, I think, December 30th, and we have all of those dates from GoFundMe and all the emails.
There was even a refund for $10,000.
Yeah, there was one person that had done a lot of work on a lot of my projects and donated a lot of money into the hundreds of thousands of dollars in different projects, and he had donated $10,000 on that project and that GoFundMe. So $10,000 went straight back to him, and then the other $18,000, $19,000 was $900, $500, $200, $300 a month. So we'll show you them here in just a little bit. But go ahead and read this story. She had 400 people thinking she was raising
a
FEMA camp. Had all these people thinking they were going to get new homes and she was going to raise the money for them, and all the money that come in, nobody, still to this day, nobody got a home that we know of.
Well, because the way that she done it on the pretenses of saying that she was going to do a telethon. But the news company had never even heard of her even wanting to do a telethon.
Just read it and they'll understand. Right. Read it out.
It was a day much like the day before. The sun was shining, the dust was blowing, the cameras were pointing at Rosalie Toro, and she was making promises in front of an audience. Promising again she would organize a telethon to help herself and her neighbors get new homes, and promising again not to leave her rent-free taxpayer-funded trailer until her last neighbor leaves with her. We'll have the telethon, she vowed, addressing a reporter as a photographer, a documentary film crew, and a Federal Emergency Management Agency employee looked on. The last person leaving is going to be me. She refused to answer questions about when, where, and who would broadcast it, along with a dozen other questions dealing with unlicensed charity she heads and the effect of her actions on her neighbors. Toro was unrepentant and unapologetic Thursday about a press conference she had staged the day before to publicize a fundraiser she said would finance new homes for all residents of the FEMA trailer park on Airport Road. Toro, who is under investigation, which she was under investigation, that's what this right here was, where the charity remained unlicensed. But she ended up receiving a $1,000 fine on that situation. But she called it Hands Across the World. Now, this was from her trailer that she operated out of.
Her FEMA trailer. She's operating
she was operating a charity out of her FEMA trailer
to build 400 homes.
To home 400
How many
people.
millions of dollars is that? 400 homes.
I didn't even think to figure something like that. But
and property to put them on.
Let's see. Park residents Wednesday to announce that she had arranged for a telethon to be hosted on NBC2 in Fort Myers on January the 27th. She basically got all these people in an uproar, got news crews there, got all these affiliate stations, FEMA employees for nothing. Nobody knew nothing.
Nobody knew nothing, and nobody knew where any money went to or how much was raised, and nobody got a house. But she got the publicity, and
I mean, even the top heading: residents upset. This lady here looks like she's bawling her eyes out. I mean, she tore them up.
Well, this second page, have you read the first page?
That was the first page.
This is the second page talking about the residents being upset and how it's the same thing I saw Rosalie doing when I was there. Every time somebody would want to come in and get something, she would want a picture with them, make a picture to put it on her Facebook so she could get more support saying that she gave them stuff. The supplies, and we talk about that later, Rosalie never bought supplies. The supplies was brought there free. She never bought them. She never put a dime of anything into this project ever. And so when she gives stuff out, she'd take a picture like, look, we gave these away. Well, Rosalie never paid for those. Those were stuff that was donated from other hubs that came there. I was there when that happened and saw it. So go ahead and read the rest of it here. I was just saying the same thing I saw her doing 20 years later here. She's still doing it. She's using people to show, look what I'm doing. Her Facebook, the whole thing started, when the flood happened there and Helena flood. But go ahead and read the rest of it.
This is just showing a major pattern over many years.
Many years, yeah.
So what she was claiming was proceeds from the telethon. She announced. It wasn't announced by TV stations or anything, but she announced it would raise a down payment for money to buy new homes for the nearly 400 households remaining in the FEMA park. Now, I'm going to kind of abbreviate a few of these areas. Unfortunately, when we printed this out, the page cut a little bit on me, so I might be missing a few words. But
well, we didn't print this. Somebody sent this. I got hundreds of emails of people that dug in and did those paid searches on her, and that's where she got put on these 3 watch lists that we're going to show you in a little bit.
There's a 48-page history report somebody sent you.
Yeah. Hundreds of emails, and I spent hundreds of hours on the phone talking to neighbors, family members, ex-in-laws, I tell you, I talk to everybody. I know Rosalie's story better than she does because apparently she don't remember anything. Because back up to this one, anyways, she's telling everybody, I just showed up down there one day and wanted to make a video because I heard about her. And she continually called me and aggravated me until I finally went down there. As you can see from the missed calls where I would not answer her calls. And then finally I went.
Yeah. So the television station denied that a telethon was ever contemplated, but Toro used the press conference to tote her unlicensed charity, defying state investigators who had just told her to stop promoting the charity. The state is investigating Toro for illegally raising money, goods, and in-kind services over the past 5 years in the name of her company, which is neither tax exempt nor eligible for tax deductible donations. Even as Toro was addressing the cameras Thursday, her neighbors in the park were expressing outrage, saying they were lured into serving as photographic props for the media by Toro's promises of free money for new homes if they showed up. It was like a dream come true, said Sprague on Thursday, the disappointment stinging her eyes and choking her voice. I didn't know about a press conference. I was just told I had to sign up in person, so I raced down there in my pajamas. I was looking for the sign-up sheet when she grabbed me and tried to shove me in front of a camera crew. She told me to tell them my story and just walked away. I didn't know what she was talking about. The camera crew just looked at me, looked at her walking away, and just shrugged her shoulders. It was awful. I felt like she used me, and now it turns out it was all just a big hoax. So, I mean, this woman has absolutely put more than one through the mill. She done this to 400 people. No wonder it says residents were so upset. You know, I would feel mad too if somebody all of a sudden throws me in front of a camera crew. I'm sitting there because I'm coming that morning in my pajamas and there's nothing. Not even the camera crews know what's going on.
I don't know how that lady would know what was going on. She just showed up to find out what was going on. And then Rosalie throws her in front of the camera and walks off like she's supposed to make some kind of statement about what's going on. You'll notice on Rosalie's pages she's not blocked you yet, because if you make a comment on there and she don't like it, she'll block you. But on her Facebook page, she gets on there and she likes to make sure she's got bragging about helping the 2 or 3 people that she helps every now and then. So she did the same thing then. She wants to make sure that people sees that looks like that she's helping somebody. That way she gets more support.
Well, it's right around here. It says, it sounded like an official program of some kind. So Marie went to sign up for the grant, and it turns out there's this big press conference going on, and now it turns out to be just another big rip-off, just another fraud. Rosalie Toro's full of it.
So now let's pick back up. I think we went through some of that. That's just in one area there we've covered. She says, I just showed up at her place one day. We went over the phone records showing where she texted me first, messaged me on Facebook actually, and then she started she started calling me, and then so she says I contacted her first, and so we got the proof there. Then we're showing some of the patterns that she's done in the past when she had told me that she had never done nothing like this before. Actually, I said, have you ever done anything? I've never done nothing like this before. It was one of the things she said. And I can't remember, she probably even said it in one of the videos, but, and to come to find out she's done it many, many times in different places. And we're gonna look at several different things on the computer now, and we're gonna go to the computer, and these are some things you can look up too online and see. These are just things that's online. One of the things that is really amazing about Rosalie is how many places she's lived and how many different businesses she's had. Because every time she'd get in trouble with one business, she'd just change the name, or she'd move to a different town or county or state.
Or change her own name.
Yeah, she's went by the spelling of her name many different ways. You know, to change it up to where people don't recognize who she is. She's changed the name. These are all different names right here and locations she's lived at. That's online. These are all public information that anybody can get. So Dustin's going to pop a few of these up here showing you some of these things. It was right now she's Maple Creek Glamping and Petting Zoo. Underneath that says North Carolina Domestic Limited Liability Company. Wonder what that means. It's a North Carolina. Look right there underneath that. North Carolina
Domestic Limited Liability Company. She's got an LLC.
Okay.
Or claims to have an LLC.
Well, she has that, and that's a for-profit, and that's not a non-profit, and she's been taking in money, people sending money to this to fix it up. See, that was one of the things one day a guy pulled onto the property and he said, John, I walked up to his car and he said, I said, can I help you? Do you need some things? And he said, well, not really. I don't need any things. He said, I saw you out here as I drove by, and he said, I come back to pull in and wanted to talk to you, and you happened just to walk up to the car. And I said, yeah. I said, he said, I watch your videos. He said, I really like what you're doing, helping North Carolina. But he said, I just want to let you know, this lady right here, she's getting you to fix up her glamping site for her, fixing all the fencing, putting up tents, doing all this stuff, fixing it up. Come spring, she's going to be renting this place out as a glamping site. And that was her plan the whole time, was to get people to come in here and fix her property up, claimed that she's doing it as a hub to help people, and they need tents and all this. And yeah, everything she needed for the glamping site was brought to her, gave to her free and set up for free.
The fencing?
I paid for the fencing. I've got the receipts. They were $4,000, right at $4,000 there I spent in Lowe's in Rutherfordton, Lowe's, buying wood and fencing, putting it into this project that I had put back, saving money to build my living quarters. I saved all year. I had planned on January of starting that, and I took money out of my building project and put in her property, and also gave her $1,300 cash one day. And you know, to buy gravels, we needed gravels. I knew we needed gravels because everything was getting muddy. People was getting stuck. People couldn't get in to get the supplies that we were giving out that were coming from other hubs, bringing them to us there at Rosalie's. But she, you know, took everything, anything anybody brought, whether she had a place to keep it or not, she put it up, tarps over it. It's getting wet. It's getting destroyed. And but there was so much. It's just we'll bounce backwards and forth on this a little bit tonight as we're finishing this video up. But let me see here. Let me find a few more of these. See if we can find some more of these addresses here. Here she was Hall of Fun Incorporated in Tarpon Springs, Florida. There she did have it registered as Florida Domestic Profit Corporation. Down there, however what Hall of Fun is, I'm not for sure. Then back in North Carolina here, she's got Jackson Farm Petting Zoo Incorporated, North Carolina Domestic Business Corporation, filed October 2015, 2025 Gillum Mountain Road, Hendersonville, North Carolina. Oh, gosh, she's had a lot of business and lived a lot of places. I lived in the same town right here 58 years. I couldn't imagine living in so many different states, so many different towns, so many different counties. I guess she's always on the run.
Yeah, I mean, you only bounce that many places when you're doing something shady and then get ran out of there, or you've got something coming against you.
Hands Across America, she started in 2003. That's Hands Across the World, 2003. A Florida Domestic Nonprofit Corporation. Eventually, it says that it became a nonprofit at some point. I think
she was operating as the nonprofit. She never got the nonprofit license. This is what the case was about, or the investigation was about.
She never did file for the charter and all that. Then here, another thing. This is how she met her husband, Randy Jackson. I might have said Johnson earlier, but Jackson. Randy was well liked by people, and you'll hear about Randy and when Austin talks about Randy in the audio conversation that I had with Austin coming up more towards the end of this video. But she had Mountain Style, and then she had a Latino magazine. And she started some kind of magazine, supposedly. I've never seen one of them printed, but I'm sure she was selling ads in it and saying it was going to come out. And she was taking up money for this. And that's how she met Randy. She met him in a store somewhere while she was trying to sell an ad, and she found out, you know, Randy weighed like 600 pounds. And
big guy.
Barely big guy, but had some health problems, and Rosalie knew that, and he had a lot of money and property. And
so she exploited it and took everything that he had.
Yeah, and he died with nothing, not even a car to drive, and she still got everything that she took from him. Not everything, she just went through the money. We don't know where all the money goes through. It was about $800,000 probably that came out of, that she went through that her husband had, and then she started dipping into his mother's money checking account. Then I think one of the brothers came in and took control of the checking account of the mother to keep Rosalie out of that money that she was draining out of that account. And so then, oh my gosh, it's wiring me out. There's so many things. So let's see, what do you want to show them now? You want to show them where the money was returned on the GoFundMe? Let's do that. Let's pull that up. I'm gonna get my glasses on here, and I'm just gonna show it right here. He might throw us a few screenshots up there too, but we're going to pull it up here. We'll take this camera. We're going to use my iPhone right here. We'll just film it with my iPhone. And let's see. Yeah, that might show up there. Make sure the lens is clean on it. Let me be pulling it up here. I'm going to go to my email, and I'm just going to go to email, my Gmail. I have a Gmail. And I'm going to go up here and I'm going to search GoFundMe. I've already searched it before right here. And these are the accounts. We're going to go all the way back down here to let's look. Right here, refund request ticket. This was one of the very first times that I contacted them. It says to finalize your request, we require that you reply to this email. I did that. I said, hello, GoFundMe. I'm replying to the above email as requested so that the refunds can be made to donors. And then here we find that because of the large balance in your account, our escalated support team will review the fundraiser to ensure confirmation of refunds. So please allow some extra time for a follow-up response from our team. And then we're looking right here, Monday, December 30th at 1 p.m. that day. They say, thank you for your patience while we check on this for you. We have issued refunds for your fundraiser, so your donors will receive an email confirmation to let them know that they will get 100% of their money back in 5 to 10 business days. Your fundraiser donations will remain off. I had turned it off. Should you have any other further questions? So now I'm going to go back out of this, and I'm going to show you some of these. That was there, and then that was the ticket. This has 7 refunds. You see this 7? That means there's 7 different refunds in this one. So here was a $60 refund, $50 refund, $50 refund, $100 refund, $200, $25, and $100. Then we go back to the next one. This one has 100 refunds in it. $100 refund, $100 refund. These are the people. And these names were listed on GoFundMe. $20, $100, $200, $100, $100 refund, $300, $100, $10, $25, $20, $500 refunded, $80, $200, $200, $100, $50, $10,000 refunded, $100, $100. Oh, let me just go real fast. I ain't gonna call them all off. I'm gonna go down through here, and if you want to see this, will slow your camera down or your video watching it at home, you can't even see all these. But these are all saying, please note a refund of $50 has been issued to that person on all of these accounts. This totaled up to almost $29,000, but some people had already took a refund ahead of me automatically. I told people in a video that they could take a refund. Here's $433, that was an odd amount. And some people had took refunds already before on their own. Guess I encourage them to do that. A lot of people told me, just keep the money, use it for something else, John. But no, that's not something I probably could do. I don't even look at it. I had no idea of wanting to keep it. I hope maybe it could have went to an organization that was legitimate, but instead of having any issues with anything saying I diverted the money, I just refunded it to everybody. And Rosalie calls this money her money. Her money's gone. This money would have never showed up, $750. This money would have never showed up if I had not come and made a video and started this GoFundMe. And she had started a GoFundMe, but nobody had put one single penny in it for that bridge. Out of $8,000, nobody put money into it. So you're seeing all these go through here, $100, $30, or different amounts. Wonderful people that donate. Oh, here's $1,000 one, $15, $100. So this was a GoFundMe set up by me. I didn't take over a GoFundMe that she had set up, although she set up multiple GoFundMes, it looks like. So yeah, there's a, gosh, that's a lot, Dustin. This just keeps going. All this money just went back. And oh, I think there's another page. There's another one here that says 2 and 2 and 2. And those were GoFundMes. And then down here some more. We have refunded a payment to people that were affected by the flood at $100. So then there were some individual ones that come in. I guess I don't know how it all came about. But that was that. And then I think the next thing we need to probably show them, Dustin, is show them that where she's on that list. We can look that up, because that all come on a search that you pay for, and showed us that. So maybe some people can understand what she's doing there, what happened, and what she did to get put on this list permanently forever.
Maybe they can help us figure it out.
Yeah, leave us comments. Make sure to leave us comments. Let us know what you think about Rosalie Toro and her. She says she grew up on the streets of Brooklyn, growing up, trying to survive. She talked to me about it at one point, and she even talked about it in video. She had to survive on the streets of Brooklyn, and you know, she hustled and done what she could. So she learned at a very young age how to manipulate people, to scam people. Living on the streets of Brooklyn as a teenager, I'm sure she picked up a lot of good or bad skills to figure out how to get people, and by crying, you know, you get a girl crying or a woman crying that somebody's done them wrong, stole something from them, then that gets people to send them money. So she's very good at what she does. And even you'll hear that, Austin talks about that, how she always cries her way, talks her way out of every time that she was in trouble.
He doesn't know how she does it.
Yeah, he says that. You'll hear that. That's coming up. I know this video is going, but let's show this right here about Rosalie on the sam.gov. And I'm going to give this phone back. Come around on this side over here, and I'll turn it this way.
Here we go.
All right, so we're on the sam.gov, and you go to search, and everybody can go there. And this is one of the names that she's used, Rosalyn Lee, I don't know, Rosalyn Johnson. This is all connected to her as far as we can find. Shreveport, Louisiana, she has an exclusion, and when you click on her name here, we find these exclusions all down through here. Apparently, maybe this was for some type of health care fraud. Z1 is her code classification. And did I pass that up, Dustin?
Yeah, scroll back down a little bit. It's just past down there.
Okay. Excluded by the Department of Health and Human Services and all other federal procurements and non-procurement programs, in addition to exclusion imposed or after 97, the scope of the exclusion. And I really don't know what all this means. So maybe someone can tell us. Apparently, there's 3 of them. Here's another one. Let's see. We click up here. She's got 3 of these that pop up. Here's Rose Johnson in Louisiana. We don't really know what all this is going on here, but her in the search on her name, she come up on this watch list that apparently she maybe possibly did some fraud with healthcare. There's 3 different names there. They might not be her, but it would all come up in the search related to her social security number. So I think that all match those together somehow. You know, so many things I saw happen there at Rosalie's is one of the reasons, you know, I got there and day by day things started falling apart immediately. You started seeing things not right. The first thing was how nasty everything was, the garbage. So immediately that was one of the things, picking up paper and boxes, food that was just thrown down where they'd get food in a tray, brought to them, containers, just throw it on the ground for the dogs, whatever. I have no idea. Very nasty conditions, and so immediately start working, trying to figure out. I pull in thinking I'm gonna be there for just a little. I'd go down and make a couple hour video and leave, and I get there and see all these supplies just burning out in the rain, because anything that come in, regardless she had a place to put it, she would take it. And you know, there's some footage here coming up of some of the people that you're seeing here in this footage right here, Dustin. There's people I met down there that work, and that's on Rosalie's property. And those people there was working, fixing. My money paid for that fence there. I thought $1,300 to buy gravels. The next day, she didn't even remember about the $1,300. She said, so much, you know, it was like I was there like over a 10-day period of time. I wasn't there all those 10 days because I came back to Tennessee twice. So I was maybe there 4, 5, 6 days total, if that. 4 days, 5 days actually on the ground. And within 4 or 5 days of actually being there, that's when I took the GoFundMe down where nobody could add no more money to it. I started removing her videos, taking them down, taking all of her addresses down, because immediately, you know, we're trying to get some money to get gravels, and people start messaging me and saying, hey, I see the check cleared that was sent, but hey, did you just get the gravels? No, I didn't. Well, it's an email, and I'm asking Rosalie, finding her on the property. Rosalie, somebody says they sent a check for gravels, and it's already cleared. I know. No, I didn't get no checks. No. And then that happened 3 or 4 times. People send their check cleared within a few days of mailing it. And, want to know about the gravels, and then 5 days into it, I go out there to the mailbox. She says, "There's no checks coming. No checks is coming in the mail. No, nothing. Nobody sent nothing. Nobody sent nothing." So I just see the mail run one day, and while we're out there working, I walk across the street to get the mail for her. I pull out 24 envelopes that were written to her. They had come through the videos, people watching the videos, and I put her address on there. And that one day, there was 24 dropped off. A few days later, the same thing. I gave those to her. 27 envelopes was in there. And you know, no gravels was bought. All this money was coming in. People come on the property. Let me tell you about this one guy. He showed up on a Saturday, and he had brought it's like an S10 pickup, I best remember. My Ford. It was a medium, smaller truck. But he brought a lot of really cool stuff in it, good stuff. Tuna, ham, some fresh new stuff, not old food. And he unloaded it all. Rosalie came down there, I'm filming it. I'm filming it, and then we unload it. He brings, you know, I don't know, 300 pounds of food maybe, I don't know, it's quite a bit of food. Food's heavy. And then when he gets done, Rosalie's standing there talking to him, and he's got a check folded, and he hands it to Rosalie, and he says, "Don't look at this check until I pull off the property." He said, "This is the largest check I've ever wrote in my life," to Rosalie, and hands it to her. Now, Rosalie didn't show it to me. She just walks off with the check. And so who knows how much that check was for. I estimated that from the people that I talked to that within that week, there's about $40,000 come in. And
is that including that GoFundMe?
No, that's just cash.
That's just cash.
Even $1,000 of checks, $1,000 cash, or people coming on the property to visit and bringing cash and giving it directly to her, $1,000, $100, $500. All that money come in. I'm sure she's not going to pay no income tax on it. But that's not a nonprofit organization. And she defrauded people, making them think, oh, this money was going to go to help people. None of that money bought none of those supplies. because all those supplies are donated from other hubs. I was there and learned that when the other hubs would shut down, they needed to get rid of their stuff, so they were begging to bring their stuff and get rid of it. And they'd bring really nice stuff like goose down jackets and things. And we noticed some things. Some of the volunteers would say, John, she would jump onto them and scream at the volunteers for giving too much food for the people, or give them an extra something. If they asked for something, she gave them something.
I actually remember a phone call. I was in Knoxville. I remember calling you, and you were having a problem with this, and you're like, there was 3 girls just from yesterday left crying out of here because of the way that she acted.
Yes, the volunteers. She didn't like women at all that worked in the hub. What it was, she had a select group of Hispanics, and that did not speak English, so they had no idea what we were saying. Rosalie speaks Spanish and English. And she would give those girls food, money, different things. She would pay them for coming to work, but they also took carloads of stuff when they left, and they would sell that, bring the money back. They were making their money. There were a tremendous amount of Hispanics coming in. And we noticed a lot of people says, why is most people get a little bitty tiny bag of dog food, but this Hispanic guy comes in, and Rosalie wants us to stuff his vehicle plumb full of heaters and dog food. It's stuff as much as it would hold. And that happened 2 or 3 different times. People noticed that there would be a couple of Hispanic guys come in every day, and they'd get a whole carload full of stuff and leave with it. And we had no idea what they were saying or talking about, but...
and you said heaters, but that was another donation that you ended up getting for them, the truckload of heaters, wasn't it?
Oh, there were truckloads and truckloads of heaters come in. We don't know what happened to all of them. Propane went missing. The day I left, the next day, one of the volunteers, Roy, hey Roy, I know he'll be watching, great guy. He went, we had about 75 20-gallon propane tanks there on the property that came in, new tanks, full tanks. And so after I left that night, the next day when Roy went to get his stuff to leave, he had brought a lot of tools. He said, John, I got there early that morning. He said, there was no propane on the property. All the propane was gone. I have no idea where it went to. And wow, it got all missing the overnight. But a lot of the propane went missing from different people telling me that. And then I had some people that went in to visit that she thought was just there to get help, but they were telling me what was going on. She opened every package that was sent to me, took everything out of it. Eventually, when I noticed that she wouldn't give me the money on the checks, I decided, well, let's convert this to gift cards, Lowe's gift cards, and I can use that to buy wood and different things that's needed. I put the name for me and John Ward at that address. She opened every one of those and took every one of those $5,000 in gift cards that came in from the Amazon gift list that I set up, and that was all recorded right there. You can see how many cards was bought and shipped there. Mm-hmm. One church sent $2,000 in gift cards that was registered mail that you had to sign for. Mm-hmm. And to me, she signed for it, took the $2,000, was I think $400 or $500 cards in that she took. Yeah, it was crazy to see somebody taking so much money and imagine, where did that money even go to? How did we, I don't get it. Where did that money go to? The money she went through for her ex-husband that died, went to his mom's house after she divorced him. He didn't even fight for nothing. She took everything that he had, went, and a year later was dead from stress. What Austin says, you'll hear him say here in a minute. We're going to get ready to start those conversations with Austin. How do we pull that up, Dustin? How's the best way for us to record that so they can hear Austin talking on that video from today?
It's funny. So I actually moved back to Forest City, and where I'm like, I literally live like 20 minutes away from her. But even then, like I told her, like I was like, look, like if I see you out and about, like, you can be mutual. We can be like mutual about things or whatever. But like as long as it's like, as it comes apart, like coming over to my house for dinner, or like me going over there for like family stuff, I don't want any part with that. And it's funny that I made that comment because like it's from what I dealt with in the past, and I wanted to get also it's thank you that you actually messaged me. And I wanted to get your side of the story because I saw it on YouTube. I watched the video, and like obviously it's a he said she said deal, and like you know, and obviously like I don't know you personally, but I know her personally. So it was nice that I got a video, that we got video and videos from you regarding the situation.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars was coming into people's accounts. Well, your mom apparently saw that, and she also says I contacted her, which I did not contact her. I got the message where she sent me originally contacting me, the text, you know, that I'll show in the video, because she gets on there saying I contacted her. Well, I was getting 5 people a day contacting me, wanting me to come film what they were doing so they would help them raise money, you know. And she kept calling. She first contacted me in November, and I had sent back and just said, where are you located at? I didn't know where she was at because she just said, come to the hub, and you know, gave me her phone number and come down here. It wasn't very short. Well, eventually she calls me and talks to me and tells me that she's got 6 women with children that needs a place to stay, and that she needed help raising money to get some tents built or put up or something so she could house these women. Well, I go down there. I finally make a date and go down there in December, and when I get there, the place is a total disaster. It wasn't from the flood. It was just for she would not haul off garbage, and her dogs would get in the garbage, and then they scattered garbage everywhere. I mean, just food garbage, you name it. It's just bags tore up and stuff that hadn't been hauled off in years. She was getting food for free to give out. Well, she would take food over there to the animals and tear the top off and throw a little handful of food out and then leave the bag there in the rain and it would be destroyed. There were bags of food sitting everywhere. She just tear the top off and throw a handful. She wasn't feeding the animals. I started feeding the animals, giving them water. She didn't have many, but you know, she first started out talking about her petting zoo, that she's got this petting zoo, and that she had to send all the animals to another farm because all the fences got tore down, and then you know, we thought she had a petting zoo because it says petting zoo, you know, Maple Creek Glamping and Petting Zoo on her Facebook page. But then little by little, within a few days, people start contacting me and telling me that, hey, you're really dealing with somebody who's a scammer that's not doing this to help people but to help herself. And then the guy that you know, your sister Madison, you know, she had them physically removed from the property by the sheriff, and then sold the trailer that she was living in just a year and a half ago. Immediately sold the trailer, I guess, to get the money. And so Madison had to, and her husband and them found a place to stay in an RV trailer on somebody's property. Well, that guy shows up one day at Rosalie's. I walk up to his car to see what he needs, and he says, I just want to let you know that what you're doing is good to help North Carolina, but this lady here, you're just fixing up her glamping website. She's just using you to fix her property up, so come spring she'll have her glamping site set up and she can start charging people to stay here. Said that she throwed her own daughter out and sold her trailer that she was living in. And so I contacted Madison and talked to Madison, and Madison don't want to be on camera or anything or talk about it much. She talked to me for quite some time. I've talked to Madison for hours, and Madison telling me about things growing up and how that Rosalie used her to get money. She would take her places, and I forget exactly the story how she used her to get people to give her money. I don't know if it's saying that she was sick or something, but and then, you know, a lot of people are saying, well, she's had all these different animal rescue things that was basically just to scam people out of money. And then it starts coming up that, okay, yeah, she'd been investigated in Florida in 2006, in 2005 for Hands Across America, for the money going missing down there on that. And when I first talked to her, she said she never had nothing like this happen. She never had done a disaster relief or nothing. And come to find out, she'd been doing it for 22 years. She even raised money.
And that's one of the things that I've dealt with my whole life was, it's funny that so it was actually Hands Across the World. So it was down in Florida at one point. and she raised, I'll tell you that I don't know what her issue is. She means, and you know what, this actually like hurts to say this, she means good, but she as long as she can benefit off of it. And that's how it's always been. I mean, same thing with me and my sister Madison. We had a petting zoo in Edneyville, North Carolina. And I'll tell you a little bit of this. So, like, my stepdad, Randy, he's no longer with us. He passed away several years ago. And one of the things was, he was a man that, like, I'm trying to say this in the nicest way possible. He wasn't a man that was approachable to any woman, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand he weighed like 600 pounds.
Yes, and so my mom, what it was is she saw an opportunity and she took it. And because that man had an apple orchard, he had property and all this, and she found a way out. And so obviously he had cash saved up since he was a kid, that he grew up, working on an apple orchard his whole life. And basically what happened is she took all of that. She decided one day she was going to open up a petting zoo. Basically took all of that money, and it was close to $100,000. All of this money was basically put into this petting zoo and dealing with USDA license and, and dealing with like lumber and just having people build this farm. And literally, it was her $1 million idea. That's what I remember it as. And, at first, obviously, I was young. I was like, that sounds cool. Who wouldn't want to work at a petting zoo, And so I was like, when I was younger, I thought it was the coolest thing ever because obviously we were getting animals in and stuff like that. And like, it was super, I'll tell you what, I had good days there, but I had more bad days than good days. I mean, we were working, constantly. We worked from sun up to sundown and, every single day of the week. And it was more, in order to like get out and do stuff, I practically had to like beg my way to go hang out with friends. And finally I got to the point where I was like, I'm done with this. And whenever there's no use when somebody cannot be useful anymore, she throws them away. That's pretty much what it comes down to. And she realized that she couldn't use me anymore. So, she basically made this whole situation, started, telling me all these god-awful things about me and, everything like that. And I was like, all right, cool, do what you want. And so I decided not to have any form of communication with her just because of that. I don't want to deal with that. And, it's just not, I don't need to deal with stress like that. But it sucks because, seeing her do this, that's another thing too, is obviously I wasn't the greatest, I wasn't a perfect kid growing up. I was, doing dumb stuff in school, typical teenage stuff. But the thing is that petting zoo over in Edneyville, I can tell you one thing, I have buried probably close to 50 animals on that property, from either malnourishment or, just not being taken care of. There's probably on that property right now, there's probably, 5-6 horses that are buried there. It's pretty much a graveyard. And a lot of it was from animals not being taken care of properly. We had a coyote issue at one point that I remember, and I don't know if it was coyote or bobcat or whatever the case may be, but we had 100 chickens go missing in one night because of somebody being irresponsible and not taking care of what they needed to do. And it got to the point where we had people call in to the petting zoo saying, calling in for a welfare check and everything. But for some reason, I don't know how she does it, but she's able to wiggle herself out of every situation. And she's been able to do that for years. And I don't know how she does it. Same thing with the deal in Florida. She managed to go under investigation with the whole deal with the Hands Across the World, because I remember the car that she actually bought I can't remember because I was younger, but I do remember, what I do remember is that car was bought. I remember she pulled up randomly one day, and we were living in a FEMA trailer park because we had one of our, the house that we were living in got destroyed by the hurricane. And so I remember her bringing that car in, and that was one of the issues that was on that news article. Something about a, Kia Sophia. That's exactly what it was. And then just a bunch of random stuff. And like I said, going back to, trying to figure out how she was able to, get through all of this and not get in trouble is I've always wondered that.
So yeah, when y'all moved from Henderson or she did, moved over there to Maple Creek, what caused that? Do you know why they sold that property over there and had to move?
So because it was the money situation. Everybody knew that she used Randy, my stepdad, and she was getting threats for it and everything. And what happened was her grandma, which is Randy's mom, she decided, because Randy had meningitis as a kid, so he wasn't all there in the head. He was, you can tell something mentally was wrong with him. And he was a cautious person. He was, super nice to get along with. He was the nicest person ever. But
Madison talked very highly of him. She said she had a better relationship with him than she did your mom.
We all did. And because he was a genuine person, and he got taken advantage of. And so, I called him Dad. Granted, he wasn't my biological father, but he was always there whenever I needed something. And the crazy thing is he's one of the reasons, and it sucks to say this, but one of the reasons why I feel like he isn't here anymore is because of her. Because she just stressed him out to the point. I've never seen that man yell ever in my life until he reached his breaking point with her, because it was a money situation. It went from having the petting zoo. If we didn't have that petting zoo, we could have lived perfectly fine. We wouldn't have they wouldn't have had any money issues whatsoever until the day they died. And that's what it is. It comes down to money with her. She's always needing, and that's the thing too. She'll say that she's broke and all this, and she doesn't have any money, and then she'll get $1,000 for selling puppies or something like that, and then next thing you know, you see her on a vacation in Florida. And because that's what she does too. She has, she breeds, I don't know if she does now, but at one point she was breeding cane corsos, and she was selling them without any papers and all this stuff for I don't even know, a couple $1,000s, because cane corsos are an expensive breed of dogs. And she'd spend all the money on whatever, because I haven't talked to her in years, but I'm assuming it was spent on just random stuff. And I know at one point she will, I'll tell you this, she will spend her last dollar on getting the animals food. But the thing is, that last dollar and the food that she buys with it can only go so far. And then she'd have to figure out how to get some money or anything. So at one point she was asking my brother for money. She tried to ask me for money, but obviously I cut ties with that, because I've been used. I was used my whole life by her dealing with the situation. And it's not even being used for money. It was just the mental abuse that I've went through, and then the physical abuse that I've went through also. And like I said, I don't mind talking to you about this. It's totally fine. Even if you're recording right now, you're more than welcome to keep this on a recording too. I don't mind telling anybody my story that I have to deal with this. But the issue is is she's so good at what she does, no matter what is said, she'll get away with it regardless. And I don't know how she does it.
Well, let me ask you this. You know, I talked to David, Randy's brother. He'd reach out to me and got a lot of information from him about that money that Randy had when she met him. And, you know, he had like $250,000 cash in the bank, his house paid for, and 10 acres of property there on the orchard. What did your mom do with all that money? And then also, your grandma that you refer to, she sold 2 tractors and a spreader that was $40,000 and signed off on the titles. Do you know anything about those tractors she sold? Was you gone by then?
Yeah, so that was sold to, oh gosh, I can't remember his name right off the top of my head. He used to lease our farm. He would pay us a percentage, and then he'd use our equipment, and then finally he just bought everything. But that money came, as quick as it came in, it went out on random stuff. I mean, that's how she bought the Explorer, that white Explorer that you saw at her house.
Yeah.
Okay. So at one point, she bought a $50,000 or $60,000 diesel truck. And then traded that for a vehicle. So she paid that in cash. Bought that, and then eventually traded it in for that white Explorer, and then another car for Randy at one point. But it was always cash payments. And then just, odd end things. I remember, even when I was. Well, no, actually, I didn't have anything bought for me. I actually had a truck that I paid for, and let's see, I paid cash for this truck, and it's a red Cummins, and I bought this truck and everything, and I hit a hard time in life, and I couldn't afford. I literally could barely afford to eat. I was living couch to couch with friends or whatever, and this was about before the time I moved to Wyoming, and I couldn't afford the insurance payment. So what I did, knowing my mom who she is, I still put the title under her name, because on her insurance, she was able, it was only like, I think it was only like $26 a month for liability, and I could afford that. I could make $26, a month doing whatever. And we got into an argument, and she actually wound up keeping that truck, and now my sister, she owns it now, because she was hard on money, and she wound up selling that truck to her, and that was a whole big deal also. But all that money from Randy, that was spent on the petting zoo. Like, I can almost guarantee you it was close to $100,000 just spent on the petting zoo.
Yeah, but that was a lot more money than that. He had $250,000 in the bank when she met him, cash. She had his house that was paid for, and he had 10 acres of property that they sold for $150,000 when they moved to Maple Creek. It was over $550,000 to $600,000 plus whatever. The $100,000 you keep talking about, that come from your grandma. She... Apparently, we're hearing that she forged checks and would cash checks on your grandma's account. That's how she cleared her account completely out, cleared her banking account out too. Does that sound anything familiar?
So it wasn't forging. So that's one thing I never seen any forging. What I saw was her asking for money, and Grandma was very, very nice about it, because obviously, these people, like Grandma and Randy, they're very old-fashioned people. They'll give you the shirt off their back. That's pretty much what it came down to. And, she made it seem like they can make money off of it and everything like that, and go from there. And, hold on, give me 1 second.
Sure.
Quick. Quick question. Is there any chance I can give you a call back later on?
Sure.
Okay. I would love to sit here and chat, but we are dealing with some issues at work right now. So let me give you a call back here probably by this evening. That's okay.
All right, guys. We're getting ready to close this out here in the next 10 minutes or so on this video. This will not be the last video. There's more videos coming. Actually, that little YouTuber and his girlfriend next video we'll tell you who they are and where they work at. Or, well, I don't think she was volunteering at a place, and I do hear that she got dismissed from there. And we're going to release where this little YouTuber works at, and he's an employee there, and we'll let you know not to do business with the place that he works at, because he's out downing a lot of people in North Carolina that's helping people. For whatever reason, he's taken the stance of just tire in and call everybody a scammer. And
they took, and because she was at a reputable charity, they started getting threats. They started getting...
They had that, yes. We're not mentioning who that is, but they dismissed her because of them out just tearing down Haven on the Hill, Deanna and Ronnie at Hope Village, just completely just trying to make up anything they possibly could to get views. It's nothing but to get views, use my name, their name to get views. They had no views on their channel until they started doing this series of negative stories on things, and then got Rosalie to come out of her trailer and step off the porch and start barking again. And then we had to show back up and just defend on what she was saying about this GoFundMe. But we was up late last night, all day. This actually is the second day in filming of this, because it took so much research, and there's over 13 articles. And the Sun, it's really confusing. It's called the Charlotte Sun. It's in Port Charlotte, Florida. There was a reporter there that took a great interest in Rosalie.
Well, see, there's 13 just at the Port Charlotte Sun. And then there are other newspapers that are in the Florida area
that they wrote.
They wrote articles also.
But this one fella here, Barry Millsman, he kept writing articles until she left Florida, because she knew she was going to no longer be able to scam. And the whole deal was, the reason she got investigated, for 5 years she took money in and never reported none of it, never paid income tax on it, never kept no records of everything that come in. Nobody got nothing except her. She took all the money. There was no evidence of anybody getting a home, nobody getting any money. It all went to her. And she knew if she had a 501c3, then that could make her criminally liable if she stole that money from that entity. So that's the reason that she got fined $1,000 for not having a 501c3 and illegally operating and soliciting for money is what she was doing. And there's so many articles, we can't read them all. You can't go onto this without paying for a subscription for this. We had to do that.
It's their archives, because
it's in their archives, and that's the reason you can't just pull it up and search. But we found it. Somebody actually sent it to us, and then we started digging and found so many more articles on her. She falsified her paperwork. When she did finally file for the 501c on one of these articles, the reporter reports that the person with the state that does paperwork said she put that she had no relatives on the board, and it was her and her son, but her son was not her relative, I guess, and she marked no relative. So it's only 2 people on the board. It was either her, and then she put her son on the board, and so they both had control of all the money, and the only people that knew about any money that come in. But there was one more article right here, and it talks about that. I'm going to read that real quick, and because there's so many things that goes into it. This talks about the feds investigate FEMA Park resident. It says, at a press conference she called to announce a fictional telethon Wednesday, the president of the unlicensed charity publicly thanked 2 state employees for helping her secure the license she needed to legally raise money in Florida. She gets up in front of all these cameras and says, I want to thank those 2 state employees that's leaving right now they got in their car and they shut the door, and she said, they're leaving now, but they were here because they helped me get my license. I'm completely 100% legal now. Then here's the true story, the rest of the story. That reporter hounded and did not give up. He really tore her up until she finally just said, I can get the heck out of Florida and going back to North Carolina. So it goes on to say, then after she says, those 2 guys just come here to set me up and say I was legal, after the reporter said, oh, well, don't come and see what they said. Says, however, the 2 state employees she thanked and waved to as they drove away at the onset of the gathering were in fact investigators from the State Division of Consumer Services, who only minutes earlier had admonished her to cease all fundraising activities until she was licensed. They came there because they knew she was having this meeting. They come and said, listen, you can't do this. You don't have a license, don't do it. She said, okay. They got the car and drove away. She said, they come to give me my license. And so they come and say, no, you cannot do nothing until you get your license. But she lied, and this reporter pulls it out and shows you right here, her line right there into the cameras. Before the investigators even got out of sight, Rosalie, president of Hands Across the World, her hands are across the world, bringing it in, gathering it in. Hands Across the World, it says, was already lying about having the state mandated solicitation license and soliciting donations for down payments for new homes for the remaining residents of the FEMA trailer park on Airport Road.
That was 400 people.
Wonder how much money she actually took in that nobody ever saw or was ever accounted for. But anyway, once she got caught here, she quit and left. But for 5 years, she was collecting money to build 400 homes, apparently. I don't know how long they was there in the trailer park, but let me read this real quick. These are talking about the state official. It says, we saw her waving to us as we left, but couldn't hear what she was saying, said Bill Sullivan, one of the investigators. It's funny that she would tell everyone we said she was in compliance. If she said that, she's lying. In fact, we told her that she had 15 days to get all of her bank statements and financial records to us, and that she was forbidden from conducting any fundraising of any kind. We know she'd been fundraising without a license now for at least 3 years, which is actually 5 years. They go on to find out. And we want to know how much she has taken in and where it's all gone. That was the question. In 5 years, how much did she take in and who did she help? She obviously does not have a license to fundraise in Florida. State official says Toro's company, which operates out of a rent-free trailer in the FEMA compound, is not a licensed charity, and it is illegal for her to solicit donations of any kind in the state, and that they have launched an investigation into her activities. They said they began looking into Toro's activities after receiving details of an investigation by The Sun. That's this guy here. In Toro's organization, The Sun newspaper had got complaints apparently from people saying that she was raising money, but nobody was getting money. So somebody had to notify them, you know. So they investigated her until she left Florida. By hawking a telephone right after their meeting, Sullivan said she may have committed yet another serious violation. They come and told her not to fundraise. As soon as they pull out, she's waving and saying, thanks for helping me get my license back. And they actually come and said, you're not allowed to fundraise. You got 15 days to get us your records on what you did with your money. But she went ahead to continue to fundraise as they pulled out. It says, we certainly are going to note in our report, he said, we just told her not to do that. It's illegal for her to do that. In addition to illegally fundraising at the press conference, other public comments made by Toro on Wednesday may soon result in her eviction from the park. I had an opportunity to leave the park. This is what she said. She said, there's quoting what Toro said. I had opportunity to leave the park, she told the crowd, comprised mostly of park residents, but I couldn't do that, so I could stay here because you are still here. The tenant agreement that is signed and sworn by FEMA trailer recipients state they will diligently undertake to obtain permanent accommodations at the earliest possible date. Tenant further agrees to accept adequate alternative housing when possible and available. Her FEMA certification person will be looking into that today. Maybe this is what that sanction was about. We don't know those sanctions on her that we looked at earlier in the video. Maybe they maybe sanctioned her for this. We don't really know. It's so detailed and so much of it is just mind-blowing. It would take months and months to really get into all the details and talk to all these people. I'm gonna skip on down here just a little bit. Her FEMA, Sullivan said Toro told him the same thing prior to the press conference. She said she'd passed up several chances already to move out, he said. A Sun investigation has uncovered that Toro had been illegally raising thousands of dollars in cash gifts and in-kind services from individuals and businesses across 3 Florida counties. It goes on to talk, I'm not going to read it all. It goes on here, and we'll let it maybe roll on the screen here so you can see it. It goes on to talk about how she probably committed fraud in multiple counties and in multiple different legal jurisdictions down there. And then she said that when she did bring paperwork in, she didn't put where the money had went to. She first filled out an application. They said, no, this is for a new organization. We want to know all the money you took in for the last 5 years and where it went to. And when she did bring it back again, she didn't put where none of the money went to. And then when she found out, it goes on to say that she had evaded income tax during that time and had paid no income tax on any of that. Then she starts scratching her head saying, whoa, I forgot. I think it was $25,000 we were raised during that time.
Yeah, she tried to say that the $50,000 was what she projected or wanted.
But see, they needed $50,000 for each 400 residents just to make a down payment.
Yeah.
So she most likely raised hundreds of thousands of dollars that she kept. Same way she's doing right now. When I was there, people was writing checks and sending them directly to her. Also, they would call her that I didn't know she had about every possible way you could take money. GoFundMe, Cash Out, Venmo, PayPal. And then anything that they had, she would just text it back to them, the address, how to pay. So a lot of people called me and said, well, I didn't send a check. I sent her $1,000 on Venmo. You know, how can I get that back? And I'm like, yeah, I don't think you can. And I didn't even know she was taking money in that way, but I had put her number in the videos. And so during the time that I was there, the 10 days, I estimate, she says she got $18,000. She told me the day I left. She didn't even come close. It was more like $40,000 to $50,000 she took in during that time. And she owes income tax on that. And you know, Al Capone, they couldn't ever get him on criminal charges, but they did get him on income tax evasion. And I think the IRS needs to be finding out what I saw happening, all that money coming in, and make sure she paid the taxes on it. And yeah, there's so much here on her, this reporter in Florida. We just knew of one, and eventually she gave them the runaround for so long. I think they eventually maybe licensed her. I don't know. I know she left because she knew she wasn't going to get away with nothing else with this reporter hounding her day in and day out. And here's the receipts I spent, Dustin. Look at this.
Is that for the fencing? This was
for the fencing that's there now, and the things that I bought, the $4,200. These are all Lowe's tickets right here. And they're all in Rutherfordton, North Carolina. All of these that I paid for, and the $1,300 cash I gave her that went missing, and the tens of thousands of other dollars that came in. Anybody that wants to give her money, you can do it. But let me tell you, all you're doing is you're supporting her. None of that money goes to help any of the people. It does not buy any supplies. All the supplies are absolutely 100% free, given to her by other places like Cajun Navy and so forth. Mm-hmm. And then she takes those supplies and she sells them or has them sold by Hispanics that I saw what was going on, because they were getting truckloads and carloads of food where normal person coming in, American citizen coming in, get one or two little things. And if you gave more than that, then the volunteer would get blessed out. And there's so many things I can talk about the dog that I saw that she took in the day I got there, a puppy. Somebody dropped off a puppy, a dog, and she put it in a cage. 3 days later, I found it behind a tent in a cage. It had never had water or food. She put it in that cage and forgot about it and left it back there. I took it out of the cage, put it over by my motor home, and took care of it until somebody finally come got it. She wanted to look like, oh, we're an animal rescue, but yet she didn't take care of those animals. Just like y'all heard her son Austin say, he buried probably 50 animals that starved to death or died from not being taken care of on that property, that first property that they owned, that Randy, her husband, owned, that she went through all that money and it's all gone. Nobody knows where the money goes to. She's went through hundreds of thousands of dollars and still acts like she's broke, can't even buy a hamburger. When you talk to her, she acts like she gave it away to everybody, helping people. But yes, it's up to you. You decide in the comments whether you think she's a queen of scammers or not. I filmed over 500 videos in the last 4 years. Not out of all those 500, not only one person I found was a scammer, and that was Rosalie. Person taking money, lying, cheating, doing everything she can to tell people that she was this and that, and such a great person when she was abusing and killing animals, starving to death, using that animal rescue thing as a way to raise money for many years too. People donate to help animals. So anything she could do to raise money, to make people think she was helping animals or people, kids, whatever. It also, some of the article says for many years, every year she would take up money to buy toys for a toy drive for kids, and nobody knows where those toys or the money went to.
Christmas trees, Hot Wheel toys, I mean, just a lot of...
Anything to do with kids, taking up money, send her money to buy toys, and you know. Anyways, I did not want to bring this video. I wanted to drop this whole thing, and Rosalie had to get out there and say that I took her money. The reason I refunded everybody's money, because she was keeping all the money that was coming in. The original GoFundMe was for $10,000. She took in $40,000 in checks, $30,000 more than we needed. The GoFundMe was not needed for anything. It was not her money. She says, I stole her money. It was the donor's money. It was the victim's money. She immediately claims it's my money. She took my money. He took my money and put it in his personal account. But yet you saw right here in this video, GoFundMe. And if you had money that was refunded to you on GoFundMe that you put in the comments that, yeah, I got my money back on that GoFundMe account that was for Rosalie. If you was a volunteer there, put your experience of what happened, or if you saw the nastiness, the 20 dump truck loads of garbage that we hauled off in just days, trailer loads of garbage, just bags of garbage, just household garbage. It was nothing to do with the flood. You know, the place was deteriorating, falling apart. Should have been condemned a year ago. There should not have been a business there letting kids come there to have birthday. You know, she was renting it out for birthday parties, but she says she has a petting zoo, but she don't have no pets. She's got 2 goats and a pig, and I think maybe a couple miniature horses. That's not a petting zoo. That's a goats and a pig, you know. And so anyways, guys, I appreciate y'all. Love you all. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the Appalachian channel, because there's going to be more videos. The next video, we're going to reveal this YouTuber that's running around, and we're going to expose him.
I'd like to go visit him.
Yeah, we're going to be in his area real soon coming up, and we'll be telling you more about him and his girlfriend and so forth like that, and where he works at and where he shouldn't be working at no more after this next video comes out.
Probably won't be working.
No, I'd say not, because there's a lot of people that love the people that's come to volunteer and take care of the homeless, like James at Haven on the Hill, and Deanna and Ronnie, and all he's done is badmouth them. He said that he called Deanna a prostitute, said she's a prostitute, and different things. That's what I'm hearing. I didn't watch his videos. They're so incomprehensible. When you're watching them, they stutter and stumble and sound like they're smoking or high or something. I don't know what they're doing, but you can't understand them. Unfortunately, they got on there and thought they were going to really blow their channel up. But
well, in one part of the video I did read.
Yeah, you did watch some of it.
They were talking about their research into Rosalie, that they found nothing that would discredit her, to discriminate against their opinion of everything.
They believed her that I took that money. They even said, and they lied and defamed my name. And you talk about a multi-million lawsuit against all of them, which the little YouTuber, they ain't got enough money to buy gas. No. And Rosalie does have a little bit of property. So there might be a lawsuit coming, and it might be a joint lawsuit with me and some other people that they've defamed. We might just make it a group thing.
Well, if they would have just spent the $10 to go on the internet to get the news articles, they would have found out about everything they needed to know about her.
Well, I don't think they probably had the $10. I hate to say
That's
that.
what I was getting at.
But anyways, guys, thank y'all for your support. All the people that told me about these stupid videos, it was, you know, we just laughed about them. I said, you know, anybody watching that, the people that Rosalie had on there, on that video, you showed me a little bit of that girl. I don't know who she is. I don't remember her there, but she looks like that she's on the struggle too, you know, and the way.
It's a very serious thing when you're taking from people that need it. I mean, I've talked about this before. You've talked about it on the channel. I was in that situation for a long time. And when you've got somebody that's putting themselves out there, pretending to be something they're not, offering help and support that's not there, taking money from people that need it. I mean, me on a personal level, this really ticks me off.
Well, Rosalie has got me. It took me several days to start figuring out and people contacting me, telling me. But she has done this for so many years, all the way back from when she was a kid on the streets of Brooklyn, that she talks about how she had to con people and pickpocket and all that stuff. I'm sure that she did on the streets. She just kept it going. She's been a con since she was a kid on the streets in Brooklyn, and she's still conning people. And because she can cry, get on there and cry and tell about how God's used her and all this stuff. And there's no record of her going to any church that I know of. I asked, where you go to church at, Rosalie? Well, I'd go here and there sometimes, that she never would say.
What was it about her unplugging the church service?
Oh, yeah, she had a revival. She was like, I'm trying to close this out, but so many things keep coming up about Rosalie. But
I'm sorry.
There was a church that came there to have a revival, and they had 8 or 9 people there. And on Thursday night, they were having church and praying for people and singing, and they having an altar call, and Rosalie comes stomping out of her trailer, come across the bridge and unplugged the power and said, "That's enough church, everybody go home, I gotta get some sleep," and shut this revival down. She wasn't even at the revival, but she couldn't get it. She come over and unplugged it when she did all the lights, the sound, everything. Everybody was in the dark. The night the lights went out at Camp Rosebud. But yeah, she's a mess, and unfortunately, I had to make this video again because she don't want to quit whining and crying, because she knows those tears gets her money. So there's always, regardless of what I say or do, there's always somebody going to believe her story and feel sorry for her. And there's the GoFundMe return letter right there. It popped up for some reason, just because I closed my computer. But whoa, we're gonna have to close this. We have spent a long time, and I had to delete all of her files. Everything that I had accumulated, I trashed them a month ago because I was not planning on making no more videos about Rosalie, but I had to, because now she's saying I took her money and I had to defend myself. And so guys, let's say bye. We gotta go.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Like, share, subscribe.
No matter how low this life drags me down, holding me back, pulling me down, hope and forgiveness will lift me up. Hope is my anchor, faith fills my cup, and I will soar high above the storm, on the wings of love, of love. My heart's filled with joy from above, grace from the throne, unfailing love. And I will reach for the King's crown, lift my hands, lift my voice, sing it loud. Oh, I will reach for the King's crown. He's my rock, he's my strength, he's my sound. Through the trials, through the pain, I'll press on, and the crown is my song. Even when shadows are closing in, the valley of doubt, the weight of sin, your light breaks through the darkest night. A holy fire, a guiding light. Chains are broken, I'm set free. The cross is the power, his blood redeems. I'll rise up, I'll believe. My Savior reigns eternally, and I will reach for the King's crown. Lift my hands, lift my voice, sing it loud. Oh, I will reach for the King's crown. He's my rock, he's my strength, he's my sound. Through the trials, through the pain, I'll press on, 'cause the victory's won, and the crown is my song. Hallelujah, I am free, free to worship, free indeed. Every mountain bows to thee, glory, majesty. I'll shout your name in victory. No matter how low this life drags me down, hope and forgiveness will lift me up now. I'll soar high with love so profound.